Hi everyone, welcome back to Total Football Production. So at the weekend we had the GMF under-8s v Salford Storm under-8s. But before we actually talk about the game, first of all, I'd just like to give a big shout out to Billy, who is Mr. NYSL himself. He's the CEO of the company. But he was there and he was refereeing our game, which was absolutely brilliant to see, and he did a fantastic job. It was an absolute pleasure to have him as part of the whole event. So Billy, massive thank you to you for being putting yourself out there, and especially in the weather conditions. It was one of those games where we were really glad it went ahead, because the weather up north here in the northwest hasn't been the best, and I know there's a lot of games that were cancelled, and lucky enough ours still managed to go ahead, and the boys didn't have to kind of have that feeling of being all hyped up for a game that never actually took place. So we were absolutely delighted that the game could go ahead. But that just wasn't the only kind of slight difference. We had a few other little tweaks here and there for GMF. First and foremost, we had Callum, who is Callum is Mr. GMF himself. He's the person who kind of runs the whole operation. Normally Paul is the manager of the under-8s, but unfortunately Paul couldn't be there, so Callum stepped into the breach, and he did a brilliant job. I think the boys really enjoyed having Callum on the sidelines, and it was nice to have him Callum normally trains the boys on a Saturday morning and on a Thursday evening, so it was nice to have him there on the Sunday. And Callum, really appreciate you stepping up and helping the boys out. In terms of the game, first and foremost, we'd like to give a big shout out to Edward, who scored his first competitive goal for GMF under-8s, and he is a really nice finish. He took it really well. It was well, just a nice little finish for a young lad who's still kind of finding his way into the team. And Edward had a really good game, and he also managed to get a couple of other shots away. And I'll talk about their Salford's goalkeeper later, but the kid, I think his name's Frank. He was fantastic once again. But just going through the rest of the game, I just want to give that shout out to Edward first. But it was a tight game. There wasn't that much between the two teams in terms of the final result. Salford did pip it, and they just maybe took that extra chance in front of goal that we didn't. But that said, it was a game of, there was so much good football, and there was lots of 1-2s on both sides, and it was particular. Both teams played really, really good football. Lots of technical players on both sides. But Salford, there was one particular move where they had like a 1-2 down the wing. I don't think they scored from it, but it was just brilliant to watch. Obviously, you're watching from a just from a grassroots football point of view, rather than just looking at it through the lens of a GMF side. It was really impressive, some of the football they played at times. But as the game went along, and GMF went a couple of goals behind, Salford stormed into a bit of a lead, but we eventually kind of grew back into the game. And once we started to find our feet, we had Dan, who started in defence. I think Dan moved into midfield a bit later on in the game, but Dan's got wicked feet. The kid can just drift past people, and he did a couple of those runs from deep, and he managed to pull off one really, really good goal. He had a couple more goals at it, but I think the little kid Frank made some excellent saves stopping him. And then throughout the rest of our team, we had Conley, who was in nets initially. Conley made some really, really vital saves, made a brilliant little tip around the post. He's got to be very happy with his performance. And then we had Leo, who was in nets for us as well. And Leo again made some very, very good saves in the latter parts of the game that kept us in the match. So big shout out to Leo for some excellent saves there. So then we look at the rest of the team. We had Jude, who played up front. He played in midfield, and he played on the right side as well. And Jude's feet, Jude's got these great little feet where he can kind of beat a player with a nice little trick. And again, he's really kind of sort of really finding his feet in the league. He's making some really good tackles, trying to play some nice through balls. But as I said, there's just a couple of times he's got this great little ball movement with his feet, and can beat a little player. So Jude had a very good game. And then the rest of the boys, you have Dara, who played in the middle and on the left. And we all know Dara's got, not only does he have a great shot on him, but the kid's very talented in terms of he can beat a player, and him and Ronan linked up quite a lot, playing 1-2s on the right side of the pitch. But unfortunately, they were thwarted, both of them, several times by the young kid Frank, who made some absolutely super saves throughout the entire match, which I'm just putting the highlights together now, so they'll be available soon, and you'll be able to see some of Frank's saves and some of the shots and the efforts that the boys had against him. And then you had Conla, who was in goal, and Conla kind of moved out field, and he played in the middle of the park, and he played on the left side. And Conla's got great drive and great determination. He's got he knows how to win the tackle and knows how to beat a man and kind of move the ball on quickly, and he did that very well and very effectively, and he picked himself up another goal, which was nice little volley in the box. So I know he'll be very, very happy, or he was very, very happy to score that goal. So all in all, it was an excellent game of football from two teams that just all they wanted to do was just play football, get the ball down, run up defenders and take people on and play. It's just the 1-2s that were just absolutely a joy to watch. As I said, from both sides. So but fair play to Salford. They were just that little bit more clinical, and they got one extra chance, and they managed to do what they had to do to get the win. So fair play to them. And we played them a couple of weeks ago, and we managed to kind of get just the slightly better of them at that stage. But no hands up. There was no taking it away from them this time. They just were that little bit more clinical, and it was a cracking wee game. So I'm not entirely sure who the boys play next week going forward. There's only 2 more game weeks left of this, kind of up until Christmas, and there's a little bit of a break, and we pick it up again in the new year when we can move divisions. So we'll see how the boys get on. But yeah, absolutely joy to watch. Delighted the game managed to go ahead, because we knew with the weather conditions that may not have happened. And again, sort of big shout out to Billy and his team for doing a brilliant job getting all those games on, considering kind of what the elements that they were up against. Okay guys, please like, subscribe and share to the channel, and hopefully we will see you on the next one, and hopefully the boys can pick up a win somewhere, maybe one of these 2 games before Christmas. Okay guys, speak to you soon.